Yeah, you see, that is a mouthful right there because it's like it is the fear. It is the fear of like, will I be rejected? Will I be abandoned? Will they receive me? Will they not receive me? Will I be dropped? And we don't control those variables. And then one of the things I've also learned too is that um in the moments I have gone back to many people years afterwards. Like I've had a conversation with my brother, not necessarily about that particular moment,
Right.
but about the whole rift because my brother and I did not have a stable relationship for a little bit over 30 years.
Hmm.
So that was 30 years of conversation that we had, right? When I went to go see him and where he was staying at the time, and we talked, like we really talked. And I brought that up, the whole time of being away and all of those things. So it was kind of included in the conversation because it was a part of it. But that moment wasn't about, and this is not this is me sharing it with you because you and I have not had this conversation, but it's also giving insight to the listener and the viewers of something that if this will help you, please use it. um it was not about, at that moment it was not about being heard, it was not about being understood, it was not about right or wrong. That moment of us talking was about allowing the witnessing to happen. It was about allowing however they were going to witness to let them have the moment so that they were seen, they were heard, they were known, that they had the opportunity to respond, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes we withhold we withhold something because we don't want them to have the opportunity to respond. We don't want to give them that power, right? Or that freedom, that release, because it's like they probably didn't even know that I was carrying or holding that because by them knowing that I had carried and by him knowing that I had carried that for so long shows how much I actually cared.
Right.
And him witnessing it and seeing that probably healed something in him that he didn't even know needed healing or touching or holding. And then by giving the space for him to respond or to say or not, um to just, I'm not here to fix, I'm not here to soothe, I'm not here to comfort, it's just here it is, and then whatever you decide, I will live with it, type of
Hmm.
thing. Those moments are critical, they are crucial for any type of moving forward, any type of healing, any type of whatever that needs to happen. And it's like giving the other person and yourself the opportunity to be witnessed, heard, known, even if it's rejected, it doesn't matter. Just the fact that you are able to put it all on the table, it frees you and it frees them. And it does so much for the exchange, the relationship. It strengthens it in different ways. So I want to encourage you as the listener, if you find yourself in that position, um, go for it.
Yeah.
Say the
Uh,
thing. Like,
Yeah. I mean, closure is a big deal, right? Like, and to add there, right? Like the holding and the just yeah, the holding in and of itself, the initial act, whatever we're talking about, right? That's a selfish act. Like you're acting from a selfish place. But then the holding on to it is also a selfish act. Like you could view it as you being some kind of martyr and preserving them from reliving a situation, or, I'm not going to initiate conflict. I'm going to be this martyr. I'm going to live in my pain. I'm going to live in this and not re-bring it up, right? But closure for both parties is a huge deal. And experiencing that closure, positive or negative, is a is critical for, like you said, a relationship to move forward. And both, you know, moving forward does not necessarily mean together. It it doesn't. It
say
very
it
easily could.
again. Say it again.
Moving forward does not necessarily mean together. It's a oftentimes it's, hey, I love you and I loved you for the past 30 years, but we too much. Too much is too much is too much. I
Too
wish you the
much.
best.
Yes.
And you keep going. And now in the best case of scenarios, it's thank God we did this. Thank God for the moment. Thank God for the exchange. And here we go. We keep pushing forward and we figure out a new norm. And because the norm from 15 years ago may or may not work anymore.
Hmm.
And so we're going to find this new norm and build a new status quo, a new relationship. And that event is gone. Like that, the
Yes.
past 15, 30 years, that's in the rear view mirror. And, and the wise world of Han, we made choices and we didn't look back. We're going to keep going and
Yes.
keep pushing forward.
Yes. Yes. And yes. Oh, wow. Yeah, I recently, maybe like last year-ish, towards right when I transitioned and left out, I had a relationship with a very, very dear friend of mine, um, come to a complete end, not a halt, not a stop, end. It was 20 some years. Um, and that was painful. But you're
Yeah.
right. You are right. It was time, it was necessary. And on the other side of that, right? Was like, man, that needed to happen because the growth and development that has happened because of it is phenomenal. And I'm hoping that it the growth and the development is equally as prominent with them. Like, I don't
No,
have
yeah.
any illness towards them. It's like I'm not going to go check their social to see either,
Yeah.
but I'm not
Yeah.
going to be like one of those people like, I want no, I don't wonder. I
Yeah.
don't wonder. But it's like, because when you get to a healed place, it's no longer important. It's like, no, I'm healed, I'm
Exactly.
good, they're great, great, fantastic. Bad, because I was trying to keep track of what we've been talking about, and I was like, okay, where are we at, where are we at? Okay, so it's like, number one, it's like we've talked about so many different things, and to just kind of wrap up some of the points that we've talked about so far, it's like legacy doesn't start in the office. It starts in the living room. You were talking
Yep.
about that with family, and then also, to marriage isn't a finish line, right?
No,
It's a
no.
lifelong training ground and word. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I mean, dude, there is no, okay. Now I will say this. I do like the analogy of a finish line, but I think the finish lines are daily. Like,
Oh, that's good.
I don't think it's there's not a, big finish line with a bunch of people applauding at the end of a marriage. Because if, in order to succeed, that race where we're talking about,
Hmm.
that race ends when you die. And even then, like, as truly successful marriage is one in which we're, in my view, like, this is not everybody, but in my view, a truly successful marriage is one where we die holding each other's hands, looking at a sunset in the mountains somewhere, right?
Hmm.
Like, that's mine. The finish lines, I think, are daily, and I think, like, for us, I view, we cross the finish line each day if our kids are happy and they're fed, they
Hmm.
are doing well in school, they're doing well emotionally, they are, they're not holy terrors. There's some semblance of structure in their lives.
Hmm.
Um, we've got our bills paid, we've got our dogs fed, we've got our lights are still on, and we both made it home to get in bed next to each other to do it all over again.
Hmm.
And so, daily goals, weekly goals, monthly goals, but I think I think boiling marriage down to a single finish line is 100% not accurate. I firmly believe that there are many, 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 many finish lines throughout a marriage. And because, you know, ambition is a great thing, but it's also a killer. So
Hmm.
there's this, too much of a good thing is a bad thing. And you buy your first home, that's a finish line. Now, for some, it's the last finish line in that realm of goal orientation. But you know, that finish line breeds another, because then you're like, okay, I got a house, I'm gonna put a kid in it. Wait, that kid's lonely. I'm gonna make another kid, so now I need a bigger house. So now my finish line changes and my finish line moves. And the analogy I like to draw is moving goalposts. The goal, like, we crossed one, and 50 yards down the way, there's the next one. Let's keep going. And because you do have to um, find some semblance of success in a marriage, right? Like, you've
Hmm.
got to have these touchstones that you're because otherwise it can at some points feel like a trod and a slog. But if you got these finish lines daily,
All
where
right.
it's like, my dude, so here's one I'm gonna be happy. So 5-year-old daughter, she's been in school, since like August 16th or whatever, right?
Mhm.
And so last night, uh, they're working on reading, and the teacher sends home these little printed books, and they're sight words, little 3, 4 word sentences.
Yeah.
I'm putting her to bed last night. She pulls out her book. She reads the whole book cover to cover without me helping. Dude, major finish line. Like that was like holy moly! Like I beaming with pride, and I still am. As like it's still all super fresh, and I feel it. But
Yes, yes.
absolutely a finish line for both me and my wife. So immediately, normally, like you're pretty strict about bedtime. It's a healthy situation. Like it's once we're in bed, we're gonna go to bed. Like that one, nah, absolutely. Get your butt out of bed, go read it to your mama. Like your mama's got to experience this too. And tell her to so she's all excited and it's making it a big deal and all this kind of stuff. But absolutely, that was a finish line we crossed, and now we're gonna move to we got a new finish line when it comes to those goals. Because
Yeah.
yeah, it, but there are finish lines in our marriage, just a
Yeah.
lot of them, not just one.
Yeah, and one of the things that I use, because you've heard me, I think you've heard me say this. I've used the word process, right?
Hmm.
I'm in the process of proper, right? I have recently deviated from using process because for me as a process person, I like writing process, procedure, process, policies, and
Yep.
things like that. Um, Processes start and stop. Sometimes they get stagnant or they get
Hmm.
stalled. And I'm like, I don't want to be in a stagnant place or stalled. I don't want to be in a stopped place where I'm constantly starting, right?
Yep.
So, and you would probably appreciate this because I've told a couple of people, it's like, so I use the word journey,
Yep.
and that in this journey, there are things that are unfolding that I can build on.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then, so that's why there's always an unfolding. And then that means I can build and it becomes a new layer of the foundation that continues the journey forward, because that means that I'm now in this perpetual forward motion. And it's like I'm not stuck in a process, and I'm not waiting for this process to end. It's like, nope, we remove the process, and it's a part of that journey is unfolding as we keep going, which means that I'm constantly facing and I'm constantly dealing. And then as I learn what I need to learn or face and see, I can add that to my building tools and lay that foundation and keep moving and laying that brick and laying that road and let that journey keep going forward. And I've found that by having that approach and the mindset, it has changed how I
Hmm.
look at my relationships, how I look at the day, how I look at whatever it is that I'm in front of. Like, what is today's project? What is today's what needs to be produced today? What needs to happen today? Because now it's a part of the revealing, the unfolding, and okay, can we build with that today, or do we need a different tool to build with today? So it's now about what is the tools or what are we using to build to keep moving forward instead of I'm stuck.
Yeah. Like I process and journey, that's really cool because processes are rigid, right? There's specific responses within a process, and you're going to respond with rigidity to individual situations. Journeys are flexible.
Yeah.
Journeys allow you to take whatever failure you had on the path behind you and apply it to the path before you and say, all right, that didn't work. Let me do something different. But your
Mm-hmm.
process is rigid. It doesn't allow for growth. It doesn't allow for that moment of, no, we're not doing that again. Nope. Nope. Not doing that one again. We're going to do something different this time. And, that is in service of relationships. Like that makes life and relationships better when you can just learn from your failures and apply something new because your wife gets mad at you for doing something. Well, she's going to get mad at you for doing it again because you're going to do it again. But your response to that situation, if I'm using my process is rigid and my journey is flexible. I'm going to say, ha, nah, no, no. I learned from that one. I ain't going to do that again. So I like that a lot. I like that a lot. Journey and
I
process. That's
can
great.
tell.
That's
Yeah, I
great.
knew. I was like, everyone's gonna like that one. See,
That's great.
see all of the things we could have. I'm gonna. You guys, give me a moment. I have to. I have to. I'm not gonna miss this opportunity. We could have had all these conversations while I was there. I was like, everyone, let's
Yeah.
go. Let's talk. Let's
We could
freaking.
have.
Yeah, but I
Yeah,
know
like
why. I get it. I know
yeah,
why.
you know, like but so this brings up this begs another little tidbit here, right? Like life is awesome because it brings people into your sphere.
Mm,
And in the moment that they come into your sphere, you may not be able to interact with that person the way that you want to.
true.
And you may not be able to interact with that person due to whatever limitations, whether it be familial, professional, whatever the case may be. You may not be able to interact with that person the way that you want to.
Hmm.
But as you go through your journey, you're able to change, and you're able to grow, and you're able to learn, and you're able to say, "Hey, now where our spheres intersect at a time in which these moments can be expanded, and these life this beautiful thing called life has brought us together again for
Yeah.
a at a different time that allows for a better interaction or a different interaction because I thoroughly enjoyed our interaction while you worked
Yes.
with us.
Yes.
But now it's different. It's different because we're not in a workplace relationship that makes me that forces me to remain distant. So,
Yes.
and that's
Yes.
cool.
I feel like this journey is gonna be coming up in a lot of tag ups and
I
oh,
mean, it's a
that's
good
great.
segue, yeah.
That is great. It's like, yeah. And then some people who may see this and they're like, that's where you no, that is a that is a beautiful, beautiful way to transition into our next segment that we're going to be talking about, which is hilarious, right? Personal development and higher education, right? This
Hmm.
journey that we're talking about, right? Because we've talked about a lot of books,
Yeah,
right? And so I don't know if you know, maybe I shared it with you, but if not, so I'm gonna share this with you. Every quarter, I do 100 book challenge.
love it. Love it.
And so Cap was in there. He did it once, but he's like, I can't keep up with you in your 100 book challenge. That cost me too much money. I
Hey,
was like,
books are, man, that is something I will always spend money on.
you can
Always.
reread, you can reread or re-listen the same books, as long as you just get but see, I gave rules. There's a rule that is applicable because it is expensive. Like one of the things about the challenge is that if you listen to Proverbs, right? Because there's 31 chapters, because of how much wisdom and knowledge is in there, like anybody can listen to Proverbs. You don't have to be religious or anything like that. You
Yeah.
will just learn each chapter is considered a book
Oh, wow. Okay. There
for
you
that
go.
for that challenge. So it's like if you just listen to Proverbs for 3 days, you have 93 books. I'm sure
Yep.
so it's like
Yeah.
I make it doable, right? Come on. So but you have this hunger for books and learning and growth. And so where did that come from? Like, did you see that growing up?
Yeah. So my mom is a teacher.
Well, okay, well,
Yeah, that's a big piece here. And not only is she's a teacher, she was in special education for,
mm,
I don't know, damn near 40 years, right? And so I there is that, and she loves to read. Absolutely, like absolutely devours books. Um, but I public school, the schools I was in, didn't really feel challenged. The work was easy, just that ADHD got the best of me in moments, and whatever. Like I was that kid in school that didn't have to study, didn't have to read, didn't have to pay attention, and I'd go in and take the test and get an A. Like that's just who I was. But all of that came from my outside learnings, and by the
mm.
time we were learning it in school, I had already learned it from the books and stuff that I was reading. So it was like old news basically. Not, that sounded like really arrogant, but it's fine.
No, 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 no.
Um,
No. I see, and that's why this is the space exists because it's like, um, we, that's not necessary. I wouldn't say it's arrogant. It's the truth, right? It's
yeah,
like if you grew and learned faster than most people, that's not arrogance. It's just what happened. And it's like you had a confidence that most people didn't. And it's like, oh, you think you're better than me? It's like, it has nothing to do with being better. It just means that I had more access to different things at different times
yeah,
than people. So yeah, no, you're good.
yeah. Well, thanks for that. I mean, that's
Yeah.
a really good way to put it. But so like throughout school, um, and my mom was very influential in those pieces, and was it was a like, if you're not if school is not interesting you in the traditional sense, well then we have to find ways. You still have to go, but we're gonna figure out a different way for it
Yeah.
to pull your soul, to pull your interest, right? So like through elementary school, through middle school, it was reading elevated levels of age appropriate books. So this is, your Aragons, your Harry Potters, your Hunger Games, things like that, like those young adult books that as a fifth and sixth grader, I thought it was so cool reading these books. And when like when devouring these 12th and the 11th and 12th grade reading level books, right?
Hmm.
But then I the most pivotal moment in my book journey, I guess, or my literature journey came my freshman year in high school.
Mm.
I had a teacher who recognized I was in an AP human geography class, and Mr. Lucas was his name, and I was you know, doing the same thing that I always do, and being a proverbial jackass in school, and doing crazy shit. And he saw potential where others hadn't at that point, because it was mainly being fed from my mom and
Hmm.
my mom and my grandpa. And then the first time like a teacher truly took interest in me as a adolescent male was Mr. Lucas. And I remember we were reading the textbook, and the textbook was easy, and it was just, whatever. And he told me to read Guns, Germs, and Steel by Jared Diamond was the book. And it was a like the book it's basically a historical account of how the West was won, and nothing like super life changing as far as how I viewed the world, but it was a much more difficult read and a much more difficult interpretation and understanding than anything I had been exposed to previously.
Hmm.
And so then he changed how he was teaching, and he made me a individual in a classroom of 30, and used the books like that to be able to teach me the content, so that then on AP test, I wasn't necessarily referring to the textbook, I was referring to Jared Diamond. And that became so much more enthralling than anything I had done previously.
Mm.
And another examples where I was in my sophomore year of high school, and we were reading, the prescribed books on the reading list, and I found them dumb. Like I just found them like they just weren't they modern literature that it wasn't necessarily applicable, and just felt forced, and these forced social conventions that they were literally writing just to say that they wrote about them, and it just
Hmm.
felt blah. And the one of the stories that was then that teacher said, "Hey, read this instead, and it's got similar messaging and still hits the teaks, or still hits what I'm supposed to teach you, but it's going to present it in a way that will be challenging and interesting for you." And it was The Historian was the name of the book, and it's a new a change in the way that we tell the story of Vlad the Impaler and Dracula. So
Hmm.
again, like it just these books started to blow my mind. And as a man, as a adult man now, that there's one moment that I will point to that has fundamentally changed the way that I don't know, do a lot of different things. As a
Mm.
senior year in high school, had to read a book and write a research paper on the book, and take an opposing stance to whatever the book was. And uh the book list, I read everything on the book list at that point. Like it was just, I was like, there's nothing new here. Like it'll be, I don't know, it'll be boring. So Mr. Holman was his name, gave me The Idiot. No, excuse me, it was The Brothers Karamazov by Fyodor Dostoevsky. And taking a counterpoint to this, the dad in this situation is this altruistic man, and saying he was not altruistic, he was self-serving, and he was doing it solely to feed his own ego. And like it was a that moment, that story, that book, that teacher, that class was taught me the number one thing that it did as a 17, 18-year-old boy
Hmm.
was it told me and taught me that it was okay to be me and it was okay to be exactly who I am and have the views that I have and be loud and be courageous about the views that I have. And that doesn't make me a I don't know. It doesn't make me arrogant. It doesn't make me bad. It
Hmm.
doesn't make me this negative person to be around. It just makes, if I'm the loudest voice in the room or if I'm um, the dominating voice in the room, then I'm probably in the wrong room as is how this teacher helped me learn. And um, it speaks to surrounding yourself with challenge and surrounding
Yes.
yourself with hard. And hard doesn't mean hard to execute. Hard means hard to dissect and hard to
Hmm.
parse and hard to it's a stretch, it's a challenge, if everything is easy, then you shouldn't be doing it. And you should be finding the challenge and you should be finding the growth potential in every
Yes.
situation that you're in. And books are a wonderful way to do that. And they're a wonderful way to expose yourself to troubling situations and troubling conversations and make yourself uncomfortable in a safe space so that if you're uncomfortable in a dangerous space, you can deal with it and you can, you know, be a be in control of self in those situations.
That I'm so glad you said that because it's like what your high school teacher was undoubtedly demonstrating is that you are enough and that you're not too much. You being you is not too much. It
Yep.
may, it's like if the space can't contain you, then get a bigger space, right?
Yep.
And that's what they were saying, and that's something that we talk about here at the locker room is that you Emerald, myself, anybody that's listening, you are enough as is. Now, you may not be enough for the people that are around you. That doesn't
Or
mean
too
that,
much.
right? Or you might be way too much for them. Well, guess what? That's not your problem. That just means that they're not the people for you. So
Yep.
because you being who you are enough and you're not too much. And if there is somebody or group of people or places, things, whatever, etc., where you are just right, right? Like the Goldilocks and the Three Bears,
Goldilocks.
right?
Yep.
Maybe you're Goldilocks. Well, she was obnoxious, right?
Yeah, she
She
was
was
she
a
was a little rough.
she
She's
was
a
a
little rough.
homewrecker, breaking into
Yeah, she's a
people.
little rough, but
Yeah,
the
but
parable still applies.
the parable, the principle still applies. It's like there is a place and people, your tribe where you are enough. Please do not give up on being who you are. I understand if some people may reject and push you away, or whatever the case may be. You are enough. You are not too much. They may not be able to have the capacity for you. That's them. They may think that you're too much. That's them, right? I've been through that myself, and it's like I'm usually the one that is the vocal one in the groups, right? That I'm at. Even in college, um, my my university did not like me. And I say that at the university did not like me, because I challenged everything that they threw at me when it came to graduating with my bachelor's. And I'm not going to give them. I'm not for those of you all who know who knows where I graduated from. I'm not going to do and give a jab at it because it's not that's not what this is about. It's just the fact that I challenged the requirements for my bachelor's and I did something completely unorthodox, right? Um, Completely unorthodox. And I did a project that was so huge and so massive. And that it was the first one that the university had ever had in the existence of a bachelor degree program project across any department. And it has not been done ever since. Right. And so needless to say, I got a B.
Yeah, man.
um,
Uh,
but
yeah.
I mean, like the people who were involved, the people who were involved in that project have gone on to do major things. They're Grammy Award reading people, stuff like that. Now they have accomplished a great, that project was impactful in more ways than one, right?
Yeah.
So, but if I had listened to what everybody was saying, you can't do that. It's too much. Just to say, why can't you just follow the rules? It's like your rules suck.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Like I no. Uh-uh.
Yeah, so I understand. I was that same person. My mom used to always tell my teachers, parent teacher conference, just like, he's great. He does his work, but he just won't stop talking. He won't this, he won't that. It's like, well, then you need to give him something more challenging. That's what
Yep.
always she would say. So, and you saw this firsthand when I was at.
Oh yeah, dude. I will never ever forget your time with us, first of all. Second, like the first like 3 weeks, I would go to our my peers and our people and be like, dude, I don't know about this dude. Like, I don't know about this cat. There's a lot there. It's 2 o'clock in the morning and we're singing. Like, what is happening? But it was so valuable. Like, it's a culture builder, right? Like those, I we talk about acceptance and we talk about like being too much for a room and all this kind of stuff. Man, the people that are quote too much, the only reason that they're too much is because they're proud of who they are. And
Mm, mm,
if you
mm.
are going to stifle the fact that they are proud of who they are, you are the wrong person. It's on you. Like that is an indictment of you and your character. And as a leader, as a higher level person, like if I am standing in the way of somebody being who they are, and if I am standing in the way of I'm in the wrong place. Like
Mm.
I'm in the wrong place. And I being proud of being too much, in order to be too much, in order to be the amount of work that it takes an individual to become too much is worthy of pride,
Hey.
is absolutely worthy of pride because that person put in so much individual effort to learn the things and grow the culture and grow the pieces of themselves to feel confident in their information, to be able to espouse it and be able to occupy a room. And man, we should applaud that work and we should celebrate that work and we should encourage that work so that more people will do the work and become these eccentric, wonderful individuals that cause the rest of us to grow and the rest
Mhm.
of us to be challenged in every situation. And you not wanting to be challenged is a you problem. Like you need to change where you are. And just because you're being challenged doesn't mean that that person is wrong. The
Mm.
person doing the challenging is wrong.
Yeah.
That's a that's a egocentrical way to look at something.
You and these words, man, these $1 million words, egocentrical. What was the other one that you said?
I don't even know, bro.
It's gonna be there, man. That was great.